Follow the road, it's over there.
Before the tower though, is it?
No, it's exactly where the tower is.
Okay.
And if you're a wimp, you can swim here where the houses, the two houses and the sand are.
Yes.
That's for the wimps.
And then the back end of it is the 40-foot where you dive off.
Which is where the brave
really
people go. There's lots of rock.
Friday, March 23rd, swim number 2052. I arrive in Sandy Cove and several women are having a barbecue on the beach, something that I've never seen before. They have so much stuff that initially I think they're having a car boot sale. It's overcast and a strong breeze is blowing. Father Jim is waiting in his car, as is Owen and that knob, T.O., whom I ignore. It's too rough in the front, so I go around the back.
I've been swimming here on and off since I was about 10, and in 1999 I was swimming along and I said, oh god, that's kind of really interesting seascape. And so I bought myself a disposable plastic waterproof camera and started taking kind of photographs, and it kind of started from there. And then after about 3 months of that, it actually, I remember the day vividly. I was walking along the seafront and a light bulb went off in my head that said, if Richard Long's walks are art, then so are my swims. And once that happened, I remember the very moment it happened. It was like a eureka moment. And then everything else kind of took off. I went to art school in the mid-80s when performance art was very popular. And it was something that I never liked very much, so I kind of began to view this as a kind of a parody of performance art, and it kind of started from there, and kind of viewed the average 40-footer as a kind of a primitive performance artist, a la Richard Wallace or one of those St. Ives painters. And so all those kind of things started to happen, and then it just kind of took over my life slowly but surely, and so suddenly I found myself swimming here every single day.
You are doing, you began doing more and more performance anyway. You have a show on the road almost.
That's right, I do, and I've been commissioned to write one actually about the 40-foot. It's never anything that I set out to do, it just kind of happened by accident, and I suppose that's the best way for things to kind of evolve. And I said this all started out as a trifling kind of idea, and now I find myself unable to leave Dún Laoghaire almost sometimes because I'll miss going swimming. But actually, where I grew up, you can actually see my parents' home from here, and my childhood bedroom, the view was actually straight down here on the 40-foot. Oh, jeez. It's always very nice to get your clothes back on, I have to say.
You know the bad colour there? That looks almost like human skin colour.
Well, there's some of the guys that we're getting in now, you'll see them, and there's that kind of lobster pink colour that it's quite an intense red, and the pain which you have to go through to acquire that colour is too much for me, so I always get out a lot quicker or a lot sooner than that.
The photographs that you take out there, you swim out and then you take a seascape which almost has only sea and sky in it.
Yeah, I don't... most of them, 95% of them, are just of water and of sky, and there's very little elements of land in it. I don't know why that is, but that's the way it kind of happened. And may I also hasten to add that most of them are absolute rubbish. I mean, I've taken 5,500 photographs, of which I'd say 70 or 80 are worth looking at. Most of them are just, there's water on the lens, or they're upside down, or there's a wrong angle, or it's just a very boring day. And it's just finding that right combination of cloud and sky and watercolour, and it's quite elusive. There's just something very pure about when you're in the water, just capturing that moment of a wave that you never actually see with your eye. That's what kind of interests me, and also that the weather here. I mean, I spent a winter in India about 5 or 6 years ago, and I also took my camera and swimming every day, and you couldn't tell one day from the next. Whereas here, it's literally minute to minute that the weather is so changeable, and some of the colours and wave shapes that I get are just extraordinary. And so that's what I find absolutely. I'm constantly surprised by what I manage to capture. I mean, it doesn't happen very often, but every couple of months I get something and I go, Jesus, that's, I never believed you get a wave of that size or that shape or that colour.
Give your trunks a good squeeze.
Give my trunks a good squeeze. I should wash my bag and see it's inundated with salt.
Tuesday, March the 8th, swim number 2037. I change and hop in. The tide is strong. I spend my usual minute and then get out. There was no point in taking any unnecessary risks. I am struck with a fear that for some reason I may encounter the seal, who rarely happens to be this close to the shore. As I swim into the steps, the sea suddenly boils up and I have to struggle to get out. When I'm dressed, I sit down and do and think of nothing for about 5 minutes, just enjoying the moment.
I think when I see of them of Sugimoto's photographs of the sea, and he has an idea that if you take a photograph that has nothing but sea and sky in it, then that's been seen in the same way since there was life on Earth. There's almost nothing cultural or conditioned about it.
I do think Sugimoto's photographs are very beautiful, but I kind of like the fact that I'm making art at the bottom of my road, and that's where I think art is. If I had a credo or a motto, it's something that happens in your everyday life, and so that's what interests me. So I don't believe in travelling to the Aegean Sea or to wherever other sea he went to make photographs. It happens at the bottom of my road, somewhere where I can see from my bedroom window.
You mentioned the rock out there as Gladstone. Are you interested in the local history aspect of this?
Well, some of it. I mean, I think it's fascinating. If you look here, actually, I'll show it to you. An awful lot of the rock here, where it's been carved out between the 40-foot and Bullock Harbour, that was taken to build the embankment in London by the Thames. I find that kind of fascinating. When I'm walking along the Thames embankment, I'm actually standing on Sandy Cove granite. So, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm interested in local history per se, but my family have lived here for a few generations, and I suppose it's kind of seeped into. I suppose I'm interested in my locality, not necessarily in local history.
Friday, March the 16th. Swim number 2045. It was windy and overcast with a low tide. No one was swimming in Sandy Cove, and I didn't expect to find anyone in the 40-foot. But Father Jim was there, as was Owen and the two swimmers from Sea Point, John and Mark, all of whom were sporting tattoos. Jim was delighted to see that I'd finally gotten a digital camera, and we had a long chat about pixels, etc. Mark emerged from the sea with a thermometer and said that he'd gotten a reading of 46 Fahrenheit. Part of the German European presidency, they have approached artists from various different countries all over Europe, each to explore the theme of the Odyssey. Basically, every day I come down here, I take photographs and I write a little diary about what happened, who I saw, where I went, and also I have a little map of where I went around Dunleary in any particular day. And so they have all of those items for 4 weeks mounted up on the website, so you can see the photograph I took that day, and you can read my diary, and you can follow my map. I don't really buy into it, but I do like the notion that in Ulysses that's the omphalos, it's the stone womb, and in a way it is kind of my stone womb. It's the centre of my universe, as you will, and my whole life kind of seems to spiral around here. Actually, I arrange my life around coming down here.
The essay describing your piece, which is on the Goethe Institute site, says that it's the omphalos for modernism in general.
Well, I mean, he spent 3 weeks in there or something, Yeah. I mean, it's that short. And I also have to say, Bloomsday down here drives me mad. It's.
What happens?
Well, it's just Egypt's, dressed up as Edwardian butcher boys and all the rest of it, eating their sausages and falling off their bicycles. And it's very little to do with the book. and very few of them get in as well. I'll have you know, they're probably following in James's. Wasn't he wouldn't swim because he didn't want to get rebaptized? Isn't that his? Yeah. As far as I know, that's actually some of the men down here. If you meet them on the street, they'll say, "Have you been baptized?" When you meet them on the street, you know, which I think is kind of interesting.
Meaning,
have you been for your swim? You know, and that's what they'll say. Have you had your baptism today? Also, you do feel absolutely amazing when you get out. You really do, and it's something that you miss. And if I'm cranky or annoyed or fed up or hungover, it always works its magic.